Hey, this is Miss McCord back, and we're going to do a read aloud today called Ricki and Henri by Alan Marks. And it is a true story. Ricki was born in the rainforest of Central Africa. For the first 2 years, she lived with her mother and the other chimpanzees of the community. Her mother was the center of Ricki's world. She carried her from place to place. She comforted her when she was hurting or frightened, every hour or so, more often if she wanted. Ricki could drink the good warm milk with her mother's breast. Perhaps she had an older brother or sister. Perhaps her grandmother was alive. We shall never know. Because one day, probably at first light, when the chimpanzees were starting to leave their night nests and feed, a loud bang disturbed the peace of the forest. Ricki's mother fell to the ground, dead or mortally wounded. Screaming in terror, Ricki clung tightly to her mother, who had never before let her down. But she could not help Ricki now. She would never help her again. The hunters seized Ricki and pushed her into a tiny basket, while the infant chimpanzee, who didn't understand, went on screaming and screaming for her mother. The long journey through the forest, cramped in a little basket, must have been a nightmare for Ricki. She was hungry, but there was no warm, comforting milk. She was frightened, and she was hurting because shotgun pellets were lodged in her little body. But however much she cried, there was no one to help. Eventually, Ricki was tipped roughly out of the basket. She stared around in bewilderment. Everywhere they were huge people crowding close and staring at her and laughing in loud voices. Ricki was being offered for sale in one of the markets of Brazzaville in the Congo Republic. It was hot and she was tired and thirsty. Her wounds were hurting even more. Desperately, she looked around for her mother, crying softly, but her mother did not come, and none of the people understood. Ricki stopped crying and curled up on the ground. She closed her eyes. The tall, distinguished Congolese man who stopped presently to look at her thought that maybe the little chimpanzee infant was dead. He bent down and touched her. She opened her eyes. She was too tired and weak to be frightened. The tall man knew that it was against the law to capture and sell infant chimpanzees. He was angry and threatened the hunter, saying that he would report him to the officials. The hunter, who probably didn't even know the law of the land, was scared and ran off, leaving Ricki behind. What's gonna happen? So the tall man picked up Ricki, who was stiff and with terror. He wrapped his jacket around her and carried her back to his house. As he went up the steps, his shaggy dog, Henri, sniffed at the strange-smelling creature in his master's jacket. He growled a little, then curled up and went back to sleep. The tall man was very kind to Ricki. He found out the right food for an infant chimpanzee and fed her good meals. He asked the doctor to take the shotgun pellets from her neck and back, and gradually some of her joy in life returned. Of course, she must have often thought about her mother and her life in the forest, but she learned to make the best of the new way of living, part of a human family. The tall man was her guardian, and Ricki loved him best. She was terribly upset when he had to go away on a business trip. The rest of his family did not like her in the house. They went on feeding, but they shut her outside. Good food is certainly necessary for an infant chimpanzee, but just like a human child, Ricki needed affectionate contact with a caring adult. She needed love. In her desperation, she turned to the only adult she could find, Henri the dog. She went over to him as he sat watching her and reached out to hold his fur. At first, he was scared. Each time she reached out, he growled a little and moved away. But eventually he let her hold on to him. And when he lay to sleep, she lay beside him, still holding on to his fur. What a lovely picture they made, a small black chimpanzee with the huge sad eyes clinging tightly to a medium-sized brown shaggy dog whose bright eyes peered into the world through the thick fringe of curly fur. When Henry went around the streets to Brazilville, scrounging food from the dustbins, as all real dogs will do if they have an opportunity, Ricki went with him. She rode on his back, clinging on tight with the arms and legs, just as if she was riding on her mother. And at night she snuggled close beside him, holding his fur even when she was asleep. For several weeks, Ricki and Henri could be seen together in the streets or in the back garden of the big house where they lived. And then the tall man came back. Ricki was very pleased to see him and hugged and kissed him for a long time. But she still spent lots of time riding about on Henri and sleeping close beside him when her human guardian was at work. At last, the time came when Ricki was too big and heavy for Henri. It was very important for her to live with others of her kind so that she could learn chimpanzee behavior, chimpanzee manners, and so, though sad to part with her guardian, sent her to a sanctuary where many orphans like herself were cared for. Soon, Ricki made many new friends. And what about Henri? Wasn't he sad losing his chimpanzee friend? He was, of course, but not for long. The tall man felt sorry for his little brother brown dog, and so he found a new friend, another dog, dark and about the same size as Henri. So everyone was happy at the end.